Hello guys, welcome back to another video. This is Michael from Evolve One, where we help you evolve yourself. We talk about psychology, philosophy, just new open-ended ideas that have never been brought to clear light before. If that does sound interesting, we're gonna hop into this is a must-watch. Honestly, this is going to be one of the must-watches on my channel. We're going to be talking about how I start with the why. And what I mean by that is, well, let's just hop right into it. Okay, guys, so when you're starting with the why, you need to consider this. Why are people doing things the way they're doing this? I'm going to break this down into 3 sections. You're going to be first explaining what is the why. Second off, how to talk to people and ask the why to people that you know, that you've been known for a while, and then people that you have not known at all. People on the street, people that you meet at the coffee shop, people that are anywhere in the world. You can start getting these motives right away. And it's crazy how fast you can get them if you start getting good at it. Guys, it's going to take a lot of time and effort, and you guys just need to be constantly aware of your surroundings. You cannot space out on the phone. A lot of this is going to be body language. I'm giving you guys this bloopers of the video just because I care for you, but let's just hop right into it. Okay guys, so we're going to be explaining what is start with the why. Start with the why is going to be why people are doing things the way they're doing it, and what are their motivations. These two questions are the building block of how to interpret anybody at any time, anywhere, no matter how long you've known them or who they are as a person and who you are as a person. Guys, this is going to be a huge thing when it comes to who you are as a person. If you guys can start to master this skill of starting with the why, you can start to help out so many people in the world. You can start seeing why people are doing things. Why did this guy decide to ditch me at a party? Why did this guy decide to go, hang out with this girl except for the bros tonight? You can start answering these questions, and they're not just mysteries in your mind. So let's just get right into it. Start with the why. Like I said, the motives. Motives are going to be a huge contributor to what you are as a human. The motives are the building block of who you are as a person. Like I said in another video, I'm going to pop it right up there for you guys. Your motives and your values are going to prioritize what your actions and what your thoughts are going to be upon. So when you're motivated by something and you're doing something that's good, you're going to say, hey, that's something I like. For example, let's just say I work in health insurance, for example, and I say, yo, I love working in health insurance. I'm in sales, actually, I call about 200 people a day, love the job, right? That's something that I find as a good motivation. I wake up every single day wanting to do that. But you get into these situations, you're like, oh, that's good for you, man. And you see who they are as a person. You say, oh, that's a good motive. They're motivated by that. And what does that show as them? Well, they show that they care for themselves. They have a high self-esteem. Not a high self-esteem, a good self-esteem. And it shows that they, respect their job. They respect who they are as a person, like I said, with the self-esteem. And going from there, it shows that they're a good person. They're on track to what society claims is normal. But, when you're asking about these bad motives, saying, if, for example, Fred is going to be a guy that took 10 years, I believe it is, to get a PhD in a doctorate. And he goes and gets his doctor's degree and then goes and works at a hospital for a couple years. And then after a while, he's like, what the hell? I hate this job. And he doesn't like it. And he's unmotivated. He does not like the motivation, but because he has to put food on the plate for his family, he has to go keep working that. So you need to ask yourself, why is this a problem? Why does he not like going to his job? Well, did he realize that all this built up suspension of going to school, going and getting all this stuff, when you're in school till you're 25, you start to think, hey, man, that's a lot of my life I'm just wasting. So when you build up all this time and effort, he put so much effort onto himself that Basically, he put so much emphasis on getting that doctor's degree so he can go work at a hospital and it's going to be amazing, that he just didn't like it. Well, that's going to be a bad motivation. And this leads us in. So these bad motives that get brought right in front of you, right? These bad motives are going to get processed into 3 different ways. You're going to reject it, say, fuck that, I'm not doing that. You're gonna complain about it. You're gonna say, oh, I gotta go to work again. Or 3 is that you're gonna internally take it. That is where insecurities come in. If you reject it, you can agree with them. They have a clear state opinion on how they feel about the situation, and it's obviously, damn, that sucks. They can feel, not good about it, but not crappy about it, and just complain about it too. They can say, hey, damn, this sucks dick. And that shows who they are as a person. And basically, they'll rather complain to somebody about something than go and change it up. They'll rather complain about it. And that shows who they are as a person. Like I said, your values. Values are a huge, crucial piece of why people do things. So when you get into these motives, like I said, the bad motive, to finish off the 3rd thing, is going to be their insecurity. They don't feel comfortable talking about it. They don't feel comfortable saying, this is something that I have in my day-to-day life. So if it were to be a job, and let's just say Ashley, doesn't want to go work at the nail salon because, everyone's rude to her or something like that, well, she could say, fuck that. I'm not going to the salon. I'm going to a new one. She could say, oh man, these, complain about her coworkers every single day if she really wants to. That doesn't help anybody. That shows who she is as a person. Or she can go and say, hey, I'm going to be insecure about it, and I'm not going to talk about it. Or the 4th, and this is very rare in humans. If you see this in a human being, you need to see what their values are, because they're obviously very good. The 4th one is going to say, you know what? That's life. That life contemplates on that I don't give a fuck mentality. And if you don't give a fuck about it, you can say, hey, you know what? I know this is life. I know this sucks so much right now, but I got to keep doing it. And it's I'm not motivated to do it, but it's something that I need to do, because you put values above what you need to do. Whatever puts food on the plate, I guess you could say. Why do a lot of people from, urban neighborhoods that are, not as rich as the other neighborhoods tend to get more into drugs? Well, it's something that says, hey, I need to go work for that. I need to get that job. And why do you think a lot more people in impoverished neighborhoods get hooked on drugs like that? They don't have money to spend on dopamine. I kid you not. They don't go buy ski resorts or any of that. They go buy heroin. And so when it gets to the insecurities, sorry, I went off topic. Insecurities are going to be the main contributor to what it is. Go on to the next slide.
Okay, guys. So when it comes to these insecurities, well, how to pinpoint them and how to make sure that they are very crucial. And this goes into the 3rd part of this video, which is going to be the deviation of the 2 of knowing somebody for a while and knowing somebody just off the street. Guys, we're going to hop right into it. Let's start with, you know what? Screw it. Let's start with somebody that you have no idea.
Alrighty, guys. So when you're actually, meeting somebody for the first time, this means that you don't know anybody about them, or you don't know nothing about them, and they know nothing about you. Nothing gets exchanged unless it's in a socially accepted zone, or else they're going to stop the conversation like that. If you go out there and start waving your arms and start making some weird faces in front of them, they're going to be like, who the fuck are you? And get the hell out of there. But if you go in there with the calm, cool, socially acceptable approach, well, then you're going to start getting these nice conversations, and you can start asking them, what are their values? And basically, what do they do for a day? Like, what is your job? Oh, what do you like to do in your free time? That type of stuff. So when you're getting into these types of people, you need to say, hey, these are going to be a building block of who they are as a person, because they do it every single day. Why would they be telling me? And they're not going to be telling me no insecurities, so how do you pinpoint these damn insecurities? These are a lot of questions. So going into these conversations, you need to keep in mind, this is for a lot of people, insecurities are brought into spectrum usually on 3 occasions. There is a lot more, but those are very small. About half the time, the person is going to have an insecurity on their family. And I say insecurity on family like before because they don't feel comfortable discussing it. Families are one of those things in everybody's lives that being in a family, you are crucially set in stone. You cannot back away from it. You can leave it. You can just say, hey, I'm not in your family anymore and just book out. But a lot of people don't choose that. And so if it is something that they're unmotivated by and that's negative motivation towards their day-to-day life, they're going to be insecure about it because society says that, hey, you need to have a good relationship with your family like everybody else, right? Well, that's not the case. And so a lot of people are insecure about that. If let's just say your dad has drinking issues, or if your mom has pessimistic issues, or if let's just say your mom, accidentally got in a car accident, is that something you're insecure by? Exactly. So you need to say this. You need to say, hey, when you're asking these people these things, do they sway to the side a little bit? Do they frown their face? Do their cheekbones drop a little bit? Does their forehead like scrunch up a little bit? You need to start paying attention to these little tiny body language signals that give you just a good inference of who they are as a person. And this is going to lead into the huge point that I like to make by Chris Voss. He demonstrated the key of black swans. He actually comes from the Black Swan group. I'm going to link them in the comment section down below. But the Black Swan group showed me, after I read Never Split the Difference, that black swans are something that I know as a human being. And this is what starting with the why technically is that you need to, you say, hey, I know something about this guy that he thinks that I do not know about him. Let's just say if some guy thinks he doesn't have a drinking issue, or let's just say, like, if I find out that somebody has like a family issue going on just through body language or just through just the tone of how they've been talking about certain things in their life, and this is why you need to pay attention. Stop getting off your phone. You need to start paying attention to this stuff. If you can start paying attention to these, split conversations that just happen right on the street if you need to, or happen at a bar or anything. You need to say, hey, you need to think of why are they insecure about it? Because if you can find these insecurities, you can start asking why. You can keep asking why. You can break through all of these walls when it comes to why are people doing things. But once you start hitting these blockades, that's when you start asking the questions. And like Chris Voss did a really good job. He does a really good job at asking open-ended questions like, it sounds like, it looks like, it seems like. And then you ask something about them and say, hey, it just seems like that. That's something that Chris Voss demonstrates in the book. Like I said, it's a really good read. Highly recommend reading that book. But for this, black swans are going to be very crucial, because if you can find out something that they're insecure about on a day-to-day basis, especially, you can start to see what their true values are. Because if they don't value something, let's just say if somebody goes in the military and hates it and they don't like talking about it, well, why don't they like talking about it? There's a lot of things that are out there. Is it that their family doesn't like talking about it? Is it that they don't feel comfortable with it? Is there something around with the instructors? Is there something around with the work environment? You're going to start asking all these questions. There's a blockade though. So unless you start asking these questions, you're not going to get anywhere. So when you start asking these questions, how do you come off as a non-threatening threat? Because most people don't like just saying their insecurities on somebody that they just knew. So if you mean, let's just say Greg is going to be his name, and he's been in the Army, and he, like you say he's in the Army, that shows core values. And if he doesn't like those values of respect, command, leadership, those types of values that come with a soldier, well, why? Why is there a misalignment in his values? And ask him what he's passionate about. What does he like to do in his free time? Because if work is a completely different thing. Work is something that you got to put food on the plate. Vices and free time are going to be something that you can pinpoint exactly what their values are. They value their friends. They put their friends above anybody else. They put their friends above their family, put friends above everything. They put themselves above everything. And that leads into narcissism. Or you can say, hey, if they like something, let's just say if they really like water polo, for example, and they really find that interesting. Well, when you get into these conversations with somebody, you gotta say, wow, that's really cool. Values. Look at the value chart. Say, if I was a water polo player, what would I value? I would value hard work. I would value dedication in the water. That type of stuff. That is going to be something that you got to ask yourself when you're talking to these people, and then also be able to think of new questions to ask them. And this is how you just keep building up the start with the why. Once you break through these blockades, or once you can't start breaking through these blockades, then you start asking the questions. Guys, this does a really good job explaining just how to do on a first time basis, first and second time basis. I personally have a good example of this. I did a video like a week ago that said, hey, I was going on a date. I went on a date with this woman, and I found out that she was insecure about her family. Her family obviously had something going on with it, because when I asked her about it, she froze up in her face. I could see her cheekbones I don't even know how to explain it. They just tensed up, and I could just see this in her shoulders too. And I could just see it. And she's like, yeah, it's good, it's good. People do not want to be talking about their insecurities. So if they give you some short ass answer, then you know. Okay, guys. So when it comes to the final thing of how to read people that you've known for a long time, it's going to be a lot harder, but a lot easier at the exact same time, because they can read you too. So when it comes to let's just say, let's just say Nikki. If you've known Nikki for 10 years and you have a good relationship, guys have lived together and everything, you guys actually have a very similar values. But if she's been dating, whoever for however long, and, that relationship breaks up, we need to ask yourself why. Why is Nikki happy about this relationship breakup? And you can start to determine, if I were to have conversations with these people, are there going to be something that brings up that body language saying, no, I don't want to get motivated by that. Or saying, hey, yeah, I want to get motivated by that. Looking at these values, you can say why, or start with the why. Say, if your values are family, friends, being happy is a main value in a lot of people. Just being socially accepted. Social acceptance is a huge one as well. Those questions, if someone values that, you can say, and if they're not doing something that they value, especially somebody that let's just say if you're, if somebody values family, but then they end up having to work two jobs a week, and then end up going out on the weekends, why did that value switch up? And this is what a lot of people don't understand, is that a lot of people that are just older and more intelligent with their values, is that you can see it change up. People don't stop changing their values after high school. So even through, college and stuff, and you're getting through these, relationships where if it were to be Nikki or something that you've known for a long time, and there's just a misalignment on how she should be acting, and how she should be acting around you is different than how she should be acting in a social norm. And that's a huge part of where you find out where people are truly at. You can never find out what somebody truly is unless you really truly hang out with them. So when you're truly hanging out with these people in a social conversation, you can start to see who they act on a basis on what they're motivated by. If they're motivated, let's just say, if they're motivated on getting tacos tonight, well, they're going to make sure that they get damn tacos tonight. And if they don't get tacos tonight, it's going to be something that brings up that's a bad motive. Or not a bad motive, but it's just something that they wanted to do and they didn't get to do. So they're going to be upset about it. And this is the same about working. If you know that your friend has started to not like his job and they haven't told you, well, if they start to become unhappy, that's what happens. If you work 8 hours a day and you come home after a long day and, you end up going out with the boys every single night, stop hitting the gym as much, you starting to resort to these vices. And I like to call them vice bubbles. Vice bubbles are going to be little segments of where bad motives get neutraled out almost with dopamine. Dopamine is your human, chemical reaction for happiness. What are you making happy on? So when you're asking these questions of, hey, if they're not being happy about it, well, how are they being happy? Like I said, humans will do anything to stay happy. So, if let's just say Nikki doesn't, is starting to go out twice, on the weekends a lot more, starting to gain a little bit of weight, is there something that she's insecure by? Is there something that's making her unhappy? Is her work environment getting worse? Is something along those means of, is it family, friends, social circle, or something along her work environment? Those are going to be the key contributors to why are people having those bad motives, for one, and then also why they are starting these vice bubbles. And a lot of people do it. Ask, why do a lot of people smoke weed? It's going to be something that basically shows that, hey, I need to just chill out for a bit. I need some happiness. I had a crappy day at work, but it's okay. So when it comes to some people that you know for a long time, when you're starting with the why and you're asking these questions on why they're helping you out, well, look at their values. And if there's something that you want to be as a true friend, you can help them out so much. Because if they're saying, hey, I want to go out on weekends and do all that stuff, well, you got to consider, you got to ask them, hey, do you want to, not be working out as much? And make, just push them. You don't need to be, taking the full wheel of the car, but you need to say, hey, I've been noticing this dissimilarity. Or, you can just let it play out and you can be getting information on it. I know this is kind of sad, but I've done this very rare, but if one of my friends is in a bad situation in their life where they have a bad motive and they're getting through a vice right now, I like to push them along, but sometimes you gotta have to let them push it themselves. And it depends on the person. And at the end of the day, you're gonna know that over anybody else. That's just truth. You're gonna know that over anybody else at all times, is that you're going to need to know what they want the most. And if what they want the most is what makes them happy, that's when you know. And if it's drugs, what else is making them happy? Guys, this is going to be the main part of how to keep people, starting with the why and helping them out throughout their whole life. When it comes to how you can start with the why and ask why are their values the way they are and what they're motivated on. Guys, this is Michael from Evolve One. I'm in my closet right now. I don't really care. Gets good sound though. So, guys, I hope you guys like this video. This is probably one of the most influential videos in my, YouTube history career. I really find that starting with the why, and you start asking why are people doing things, why are people motivated by people or by other things, you will be successful in the long run, and it will help you out tremendously when it comes to work environments, saying, hey, why does somebody not like me? Well, is it based off of dissimilarity in values? That type of stuff. If, let's just saying, why does my work team not respect me? Well, is it something that brings up narcissism? Is it something that people cannot respect? And guys, I really recommend watching The Situation Over My Situation video. I am going to link that right up there for you guys. But this wraps up the video, guys. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye now.